Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble!
You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember, because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Oh!
Derek's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's me, Mr. FSP, doing what I do because I do it for you all day, every day. I look a little dark. Let me see if I can get a little light up on me here. Just a little bit of light. I guess that'll work. Okay. Check me out. Check me out. It is Saturday. I'm on a little earlier because I have an appointment I need to attend to, and I'm not going to be able to do the show early enough tomorrow to help folks get to their optimal lineup. So what I wanted to do is first start off with what I was last week. Last week was my worst week by far in the first 3 weeks of fantasy. I went 10-6, which isn't bad. It's still a double-digit, win percentage. But when you go 11-5 and 12-4, you kind of want to stay up in those 11s and 12s and not dip to a 10. But a 10, nonetheless, probably took it to the pay window. Hope you did. If you did not, I got some bangers for you this week. And I hope you are listening. I want to talk about what's going on with my guy, Kyler Murray. So I'm going to start off with that, right? Let me put my music under, and then we're going to get started. So, that might be a little loud. I'll put it right there. So Kyler is not looking good for you, my guy. We are at the stage in your career where you need to prove that you are worth all the money you were given. I am a Kyler Murray fan. I am an OU graduate. I'm going to tell you right now, the fans in Arizona, they aren't feeling you, my friend. They are truly not feeling you. Fantasy owners, not feeling you. Unfortunately, it seems like Marvin Harrison Jr. isn't feeling you either. Too many miscommunications on him and you causing those interceptions. I mean, I'm not going to put it all on you. Did it look like Marvin was loafing? Yeah. I think that's because he doesn't believe he's getting the ball. I really think that's it. I really think that he's used to being the third and fourth option, and when it's not the case, as in the last game, you find out if he's checked in or checked out. Catching that touchdown and that kneeling prayer, that showed more than just, I'm trying to get right with you. It's saying, I have confidence in my hands. And he's rightfully blaming himself for that bobbled interception that you put right on him. But he was dealing with something, and it was in his head. Hopefully it's all fixed. But my friend, you have a $54 million tag on you next year. I believe the Cardinals are trying to shop you. And the gameplay thus far is not good. I'll be honest. I'm 5'10", 5'9", 3/4, shrunk, I'm older. You're about 5'10". Not a lot of teams are going to be out there looking for you to fill their needs. Could magic happen again in New Orleans? Whereas you're traded down there or whatever the case may be, and you do what Drew Brees did? It happened. Not a big, Kellen Moore fan, but with those weapons and that system, I think you would do very well. But New Orleans doesn't have the capital to make that move. Nor do they have the cap room to make that move. But that would be somewhere I could see you going and doing well. But I'm going to tell you, I'm a season ticket holder, a club season ticket holder at that. And to see the prices go up of these tickets to cover the salaries of the players, and particularly your salary, which is the largest the team should be, you're the quarterback. There is a lot expected. And this last performance, coupled with years of performance, you're making more than the average quarterback in the NFL right now. And definitely next year. Step your game up. Or you're going to have the same record I said during the preseason. I said you guys would be 9-8 or something like that. That's not good enough. That does not justify the investment the team has put in you. The fans have put into the team. Get it right, bro. Get it right. Okay. That was my plea to my guy, Kyler Murray. Hopefully, Kyler steps up, shows out, and the play calls are to his strengths, whereas he's using his two best targets. Not gonna lie, the run game, look. Benson, no. Sorry. Different type of back from Connor. He showed it. And he's shown it. If the offensive line are making holes for Connor, they're making holes for Benson, but Benson's not hitting it as hard, or he's being a little indecisive, the run game is not there. So it's upon you, Mr. Murray, you, Mr. Harrison, you, Mr. McBride, you, Mr. Jones, you, Mr. Wilson, Mr. Wilson, Dennis the Menace. So I'm not going to put it on the offensive line because they're doing their job. Let's get together. Otherwise, Arizona's going to be in the market for a quarterback in a draft that does not have a lot of top talent coming out, which helps Kyler, but hurts him too. $54 million in 1 year, coming in on the last 2 years of that contract. That does not bode well for you. It does not bode well for you. You have got to make a change for once in your life. Michael Jackson. Anyway, let's get to the nitty gritty, okay? Let's get to the nitty gritty. It's time to make some picks. First of all, my guy, Chris Etter, wanted me to pose a question to you all. So I'm going to pose it. What teams that are 0-3 or 3-0 surprised you? Now, last week I mentioned a few teams on air, but this week I think that kind of changes. Indy, post show. Tampa, for sure. I thought they'd be 0-3 by now with the missing of Godwin and Worth, and they've gotten physically worse, losing a lot more players. So I'm surprised they're 3-0. But the biggest one to me has to be the Colts. I think that changes this week, but we'll get to that. Biggest surprise to me that is 0-3, the Texans. The Texans, man. I thought they'd be at least, 2-1 by now. I did not see them being the way they are. It wasn't Bobby Slowik. I said this during my breakdown of the AFC South. Houston's problem isn't their quarterback. Their weaponry, not as good as it was a year or so before. Thank Dell, when he comes back, that changes that. But it doesn't change the fact they can't run the ball. They can't run the ball because the offensive line is terrible. They can't set up to keep CJ Stroud standing up because the offensive line is terrible. We have 3 of your 5 starters leave the team by a trade, cut, free agency, whatever. That's cohesion thrown out the window. Basic blocking schemes should be easy to pick up. It's no big secret. Zone or gap. Down block, full block. Pass protect. Fan. Keep it tight. But that's the problem with Houston. And I don't even think if Joe Mixon was there as opposed to Nick Chubb that there would be a difference. There's no running room. None. So to answer my guy Chris Etter's question, Houston is my biggest surprise at 0-3. And the Colts are my biggest surprise at 3-0. This has been talked about in many places. Leaving New York seems to be the remedy for players. Daniel Jones has a competent offensive line. He's always had a very competent running game. Jonathan Taylor, Saquon Barkley. Argue Saquon was better or is better. He's got a legit top tier wide receiver in Michael Pittman Jr. He has time to throw the ball. Big difference than what he had in New York. Jackson Dart stepping in for Russell Wilson. That poor kid against the Chargers? That poor kid is going to have some issues. He's going to be running. He's going to be running a lot. But, in my opinion, the Colts, just like a lot of other people would say, surprise 3-0. But really surprising, 1-2. The Ravens and Chiefs, we'll talk about that when it's their turn. But right now, let's get into week 1. First game is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on NFL Network. From London, you have the Minnesota Vikings taking on Pittsburgh Steelers. Look, I personally thought and still do think Pittsburgh is going to win the AFC North. I think once they fix their defensive struggles, they'll be very tough to beat. Aaron can't turn the ball over. DK needs to be more involved. This is not the team you want to face or that. But Carson Wentz is the quarterback on the other side. Is he better than what JJ McCarthy would have added? Yes. Much better? No. No. I think this is the last game of Jordan Addison's suspension. So that brings back another weapon next week. Not this week, but next week for the Vikings. Losing Aaron Jones is not that big of an issue here. I think Jordan Mason is the better back in the run game. He's proven it. 3 games, when he comes in, those same run plays seemingly work for him and not Aaron. Don't know why. Same run scheme. They don't change it. It's just he hits it harder and he's a more powerful back. The one thing I'm a little sad about, those of us, including myself, who picked up TJ Hawkinson. It's not looking good. Not looking good. But good news for Minnesota, Pittsburgh gives up a lot of yards in the air. A lot. Right? I think almost 300. And I don't know why, but they can't stop the run that well. Even though I said all that, I'm picking Pittsburgh. I think Pittsburgh will be able to deal with the defense of Minnesota. Writing it down, pen in the pad. Week 4 hits. I think Pittsburgh is going to be able to handle that defense of Minnesota. And conversely, the defense shows up against Carson Wentz. I had Pittsburgh winning this game during the preseason anyway, so I'm not going to change that. Let's move on. Atlanta hosts Washington. Second straight game without Terry McLaurin. Washington is going through some stuff right now. It's not really big and publicized because they're 2-1. Jaden Daniels is out. Terry McLaurin is out. They lost Austin Eckler, who they thought was going to be the starting back. Now Bill, the other running back, the rookie running back, they traded our guy Big Robinson away for. You know, he's a little nicked up. That's 4 players on the offensive side of the ball. Defense is decent, but not where you want it to be. This might be a trap game. Atlanta had the worst game possible. Atlanta had the worst game possible versus Carolina last week. I don't think they repeat that. I really don't. Washington is primed for passes versus, this offense. Michael Penix Jr., as a rookie, I think it was his 3rd game or so, came in and carved up a very similar defense. I know Jeremy Chin was back there. He's not with the team anymore, but scheme's the same. I honestly think Atlanta's going to put some points up, but I think they're going to lose the game. This isn't a homer pick. Listen to why I'm saying Atlanta loses this game. They lose the game because of the kicker they decided to keep versus the kicker they decided to let go. Washington has their own troubles with Matt Gay, but I think this kicker, who just got a 2-year deal, is going to cost Atlanta this game. Mariota played with Atlanta for what, last couple years. He wants a little revenge, right? Might not say it, not his character, but I think he wants a little. I think Washington wins on a field goal they make, but Atlanta loses from a field goal or extra point they miss. Gotta go Washington. And by the way, I did go with Seattle. I'm gonna add Thursday's game here too, because I don't want y'all to think I'm just trying to cherry pick. No. Next game, easy game in my book, but maybe not so easy. New Orleans and Men. Buffalo. I don't know how they have such an easy schedule or easier schedule, but you're at home hosting the 0-3 New Orleans Saints. Spencer Rattler isn't the answer. I told you guys that. But if he's the best quarterback they have, and they spent a second rounder, a high second rounder on the kid from Louisville, and he can't beat out Spencer Rattler, that should tell you. James Cook is on fire. He is on fire. In fuego. I think it's a little bit too much of James Cook coupled with the receiving core. Shakur hasn't stepped out of the shadow of being the #1 receiver yet, but I think he steps out against his defense. I think Shakur goes for maybe, I'm going to go 80 and a TD. Look, Keon Coleman. I got hopes for him. This is a game where he can show up. But I got to definitely go with Buffalo. Buffalo's easy. But that's what we thought when they faced Miami and almost lost. Interesting game here. Cleveland is the city where we come from, so rhyme right. Versus Detroit. Cleveland and Detroit. I got to tell you, I was somewhat wrong about Flacco not, playing in the next week. I wasn't wrong that Flacco wouldn't finish that game versus Baltimore. I wasn't. But you win 10-3 last week versus a team who I said has the best defense in the league. Cleveland still got a decent defense, man. Very good defense. The problem is they're facing a team that's high octane on the offensive side of the ball. Green Bay, not so much. They're very good, but high octane. Look, Detroit really shouldn't have won that game versus Baltimore, but they did. They found a way to win the game. They do it again. Detroit over Cleveland. Flacco might get bent up a little bit here too. Dillon is not the answer either. I don't even know if Shador is. I don't. But they better find a run game, which they somewhat found last week. Rookie Jenkins ran through that Green Bay defense where Gibbs, Eckler, and the rest couldn't. Excuse me. I apologize. Green Bay's defense. That's what I'm talking about. Jenkins ran through Green Bay's defense where top tier talent didn't. Jenkins can do something here versus Detroit, but I don't think it's going to be enough to beat Detroit. Next game. I told you I was disappointed in Houston. I told you. They're 0-3. I knew Tennessee would be 0-3. Matter of fact, I think Tennessee's going to, I already told you Tennessee's going to finish. They're not going to have a winning record. Cam Ward has had a turnover in each of the first 3 games. It doesn't end here. It doesn't. He has 2 fumbles and 1 interception. A fumble in each of the first 2 games, an interception in the last game. Some of this isn't his fault, but a lot of it is. He's got a gun, and he always rockets the ball. He holds on to it too long as well. Houston has a nasty defense. I don't expect anything different this time. Houston gets a W. Tennessee stays homeless or winless. All right, that was a joke for people that know what I'm talking about. All right, Carolina goes to New England. Listen, let me be very clear. What Carolina did last week to Atlanta was a fluke. Michael Penix, 2 interceptions, 6 sixes. Look, Drake may not throw for 250 yards this game, but I bet you they're going to run this route. Henderson, he should touch the ball a lot in this game. Look, I told you guys, Henderson eventually will supplant the starting running back, but right now, they're going to be a tandem. And they'll work over that Carolina run defense. Stephon Diggs has been very, very quiet. He's got like 12 babies on the way at the same time. Cardi still loves him. It is what it is. I'm telling you, as I said before, New England's 1-2. I said they needed to be at least 3-1 by the 4-game mark to finish 9-8, right? They're going to get this W, right? They'll be 2-2, but then they're going to take some L's, a lot of L's. So it was an NE heartbreak. She got me going. Okay, if you don't know it, that's fine. New edition, NE, but New England in the States. Now, let's talk about feeding a guy to the wolves. Feeding a guy to the wolves. Brian Daboll. Why are you going to start Jackson Dart versus the Chargers, which is one of the better defenses in the NFL, and not wait till next week versus New Orleans? Look, I get it, and I agree. Dart has a lot of talent. Live arm, very coachable. But he also takes a lot of chances. And you don't want to do that versus the Chargers. Chargers, I believe, are going to... You're welcome. Which NFL player would be your tenderoni? I ain't got no tenderonis in the NFL, bro. No. But I get the reference. But the Chargers, I had Denver winning the division. Chargers right now 3-0. They're about to be 4-0. And the Chargers are letting Justin Herbert throw the ball. I got a question. First of all, I'm picking the Chargers to win. Sidebarring. I understand Herbert's throwing the ball and got the rookie running back and all that, and Najee's gone for the season. Here's a question for you all. Who wins this trade and why? Team A trades away Matthew Stafford, Devontae Adams, and Jamar Chase for Justin Herbert and Malik Neighbors. Who wins that trade? Is it a sign of collusion? Is it a sign of tanking? I think it's tanking myself. It's week 3. You throw away or you trade away Stafford and Adams and Chase for Herbert and Neighbors, so you're gonna have the Herbert and Quentin Johnston stack. That was the general reason given. But you're throwing away, and I'm saying throwing away, the stack of Devontae Adams and Matthew Stafford. Oh, we're just gonna throw in Jamar Chase. I'm interested in hearing what you guys have got to say about that trade. How do you think, or what do you think is behind it? I will tell you right now, the person that traded away Stafford, Adams, and Chase, they're 0-3. But they also have CeeDee Lamb, who got injured. So they need running back help. They definitely need running back help. But a running back was not in the deal. I mean, on his team, this player had Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb, and Devontae Adams in the starting three, and Drake London as the other receiver. Those four receivers. Two decent quarterbacks. Like I said, Matthew Stafford. And he had McCarty when McCarthy got injured. So he picks up Geno Smith. But you trade that away for Malik Neighbors and Justin Herbert. Anyway, let me know what y'all think, please. Put it in the chat. Fill me up. Let's talk about it, because I need to know. I need to know. All right. Next game, Philly, Tampa. Philly and Tampa is an interesting game, right? Tampa just re-signed the guy they cut because he was overweight. He was like almost $4 billion, and it was a health issue, right? But now you're putting him, you elevated him to the starting, not to the starting lineup, because I'm not going to start him. You elevate him to the 53-man roster, go alongside Vita Vea, but yet Todd Bowles says, we didn't do it just to stop the tush push. Look, Todd, you can lie to all them other people, but you can't lie to me. Homeboy from Florida, he's a hole plugger. Put him alongside Vita Vea, that's double hole plugs. This is a game where Tampa Bay's coming in short-handed. The hope is that Chris Godwin is back. If not, that's Sterling Shepard as your number one receiver. Worth isn't back yet. Mike Evans is gone. You're either going to run the rock really heavily and rely on Tampa 2 defense, which y'all don't play, and hope Baker does something, or you're going to get steamrolled. You're going to get steamrolled. Philly. That's all I need to say. That's all I need to say. Woo! Colts and the Rams. Listen. The Colts and the Rams are a very interesting matchup. Colts, like I said, surprisingly 3-0. Rams are 2-1. Easily should be 3-0 if not for a blocked kick. But it happened. 2 kicks got blocked in that game between Philly and the Rams. I told you guys, the Rams, I feel like the Rams might go to the Super Bowl this year. Them or Philly. I really think so. And I told you how Philly needed to win that game. They threw the ball. 3 touchdowns in the air. But in this game, the Colts are going to get tested. I mean, big time tested. The Rams defense, I don't know why they can't stop the run that well, but overall, that defense can make some things happen. They can make some things happen. Will we see the old Danny Dimes, or will Daniel Jones be Indiana Jones? I don't know. I believe with the Rams giving Blake Corum more touches, that's going to take the weight off of carrying Williams. That also will open things up for Adams and Nakua even more. I just think the Rams have a little more of a better team than the Colts. The Colts kicker has not punted all season. It's only been 3 games, but I think he's going to punt several times in this game. And the Rams are going to capitalize. Got the Rams. Moving on, Jacksonville, San Fran. Brock Purdy starting. But he has nobody to throw to. Ricky Pearsall doesn't like he's going to play. Juwan Jennings doesn't like he's going to play. George Kittle is out. Brandon Ayuk still out. Oh boy. Christian McCaffrey's going to have a hell of a day. Hell of a day. Brian Robinson Jr., he might even run the rock more as McCaffrey becomes a slot receiver this game. Losing Bosa for the season hurts more than you think. Jacksonville is not a world beater, but Jacksonville is going to go 3-1. Jacksonville is going to go 3-1 and drop San Fran to 3-1. Jacksonville, they're getting them at the right time when they're hurt. San Fran's hurt. Not much more to say other than Duval. That's what homeboy said. I'm sorry. Never gonna get over that. Look, you got the Ravens at Kansas City. Both teams are 1-2. That is a surprise. The Ravens have scored over 30 points in the first 3 games. If not for some untimely fumbles by Derrick Henry, they might be 3-1. Because yes, I'm picking them to win this game. But those 2 fumbles against Buffalo and against Detroit completely changed the dynamics of those 2 games. Completely. Right? I don't think he's going to have that problem, even though Kansas City's going to go after it. The problem I see is this. Pat Mahomes leads Kansas City in rushing. He has over 125 yards rushing. That's roughly, 4.2 or 4.1.5? 41.5 rushing yards per game. Pat Mahomes is not that guy to be running the ball. He's not. Unless you want him hurt. I don't see Kansas City doing to Baltimore what Detroit did. I think Detroit used Knuckles, Crash and Knuckles, or Sonic and Knuckles perfectly. Pacheco and Hunt are not that tight. They're not. Both are power, not speed. Baltimore needs to do something about their run defense. Xavier Worthy is expected to come back, which is a good thing. I just don't think it's enough. I think Kansas City drops this one. They go to 1-3. And I give the win to Baltimore. Move on. Chi-Town versus Las Vegas. I warned all of you Gentee drafters. I said, and I quote, the offensive line for the Raiders is garbage. I don't expect any holes for Gentee to run through. Don't expect him to have a stellar year, a good year. Well, paraphrase the last part. I'm not wrong. Last week, they threw the ball really well. Still lost the game because they can't run the ball. Bears looked pretty good last week. They actually started doing some plays that are indicative of their coach. And they look good. Roma Dunzier has easily become the number one, and DJ Moore is now that support guy. Vegas has a problem covering the receivers. I expect Caleb to go for 300. I expect Rome to get like a $120 touchdown or two. There might be a DeAndre Swift sighting. I know the other young running back is a power bruising guy. You're not going to need it versus Vegas. Look what Jeremy McNichols did to them. Like 3 or 4 Raiders bounced off of all of them. What's that? 70-something, 80-something yard touchdown? Yeah. Chi-Town Heat. Sorry, Pete. Green Bay at Dallas. Green Bay's 2-1. Dallas is 1-2. No CeeDee Lamb for the foreseeable future. Maybe what? 3 games, 4 games? That means Pickens has got to be the guy. Ferguson, I told you guys in the preseason, Ferguson was going to benefit greatly from this signing. Now, last week, he had 14, 15 targets, all catches. CD went out. That's not going to change. That is not going to change. What needs to change for Dallas is they need to run Javonte Williams hard the way Junkins ran with Cleveland versus that Green Bay defense. Jerry Jones on his weekly show made a comment about Micah Parsons. It's not Micah versus Dak. It's Dallas versus Green Bay. That's what, Dak said. But Jerry said, we have enough information and studies to see what teams did to us when we had Micah. And depending on the package, the running game was how they beat them. That tells me Jerry Jones just gave away what Green Bay is going to have to face. Dallas is going to run that rock at Micah Parsons consistently, no matter where he lines up at. I don't know if you want to add the same game parlay in this one, but here's what I'm going to tell you. Dallas gives up like 300 yards passing. Jordan Love going for 300. He only played him one time in that playoff game. He's going for 300. Josh Jacobs hurt or not, he's getting the end zone. Musgrave or Kraft, one or both are getting in the end zone. Pickens will have 6 catches maybe. He'll have at least 6 targets. Ferguson, I'm taking the over on whatever targets DraftKings, FanDuel, whoever gives him. Take the over. We'll see. But I think Micah goes back to Dallas amongst all the blues and stuff and gets the game-winning sack on Dak. That's a headline. Parsons gets the game-winning sack on Dak by Parsons. That's the headline in Green Bay and Dallas. All right, let's talk about what happened or what's going to happen with the Jets and Miami. Both are 0-3. Justin Fields returns. Listen, I predict this, and I told you guys Miami was going to lose. Right? Also told you that Mike McDaniels will be fired before something just happened. I don't know. Mike McDaniels will be fired before the end of the season. Chris says he said the San Fran to be the number 3 receiver. Oh man, I gotta catch up. Anyway, Miami. Go with the Jets. The Jets are a better side. Y'all probably thought I was crazy when I said the Jets are gonna have an outside shot at making the playoffs. I'm not joking. Justin Fields might not be the quarterback that's gonna take them a long way, but the Jets have a legit shot with that defense and him being a dual threat quarterback at winning games. I told you he's a better quarterback than Tyrod Taylor for that team. Tyrod, pick 6, cost him the game. Look, understand, it's the Jets, Jets. Sorry, Chris. That Monday night game, which probably should not be Monday night, should have been flexed out of it. Keep the Jets name out of your mouth. Hey, bro, whatever. Cincinnati at Denver. This was a good game when Burrow was the quarterback. Denver got embarrassed last week. Too many drop balls. I think Courtland Sutton had like 3 of them. That wasn't good. But Monday night, Cincinnati, all day, every day, is going to lose. I got Denver on the rebound. Cincinnati's 2-1. Denver's 1-2. They'll both be 2-2 at the end of the game. The best defense, I said, was Denver. Then I switched to Green Bay, but I still think Denver's one of the best, if not still the best defense in the NFL. And they're going to show it versus Browning and company. I got Denver. And because I said I was going to do Thursday night's game, so you guys can say, "Oh, he's not sharing." Thursday night is the Rams and the 49ers. I got the Rams for Thursday night's game. That's Thursday. Let me write that down. Okay? Let's start week 5. Week 5 starts on Thursday. I'm picking the Rams right now. Just to prove to you, I'm not making this stuff up. All right. With that being said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. My boy Chris Etter with the question: surprise 0-3 and surprise 3-0. I said Houston's my surprise 0-3. Also said that the Colts are my surprise 3-0. Houston gets off the schneid. They become 1-3. Colts, they lose to the Rams and become 3-1. Next week, I will be on hopefully at 10. If not, I'll be on it. Well, 10 a.m. my time is 1 p.m. your time. But if I'm not on at that time, it will be at noon Eastern and 9 a.m. Pacific. I appreciate you all. I really, really do. Let me get ready to get out of here and tell you, Cypher Ghost is coming. Cypher Ghost is here. Go get Cypher.
Chapter 1. Maya, Daughter of the Divide. The city of Cindertown was carved in lines that weren't drawn by architects or city planners, but etched by power, privilege, and pain. On one side, high-rises, fiber optic veins, and champagne brunches. On the other, 7 blocks. Maya had learned to live between those lines, and often within the shadows they cast. Her father, Detective William Miller, existed in the structured gray of precincts and protocols, a white man born into duty and defined by routine. Miller buried his grief in caseloads and clipped orders. Since the death of his wife, his presence at home had become as fleeting as a shadow at dusk. He told himself his
Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Get ready to rumble!
You wanna talk smack? You in the right place. So take a step back before I get all up in your
Remember,
face.
because I don't remember. I remember every bit of this.
You're the dudes holding on the phone line. Your voice will be heard, sir.
Next caller, please.
Jerry's gonna get him.
Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics. Fantasy, sports, and politics.
Listeners are asking questions about this week's games, not Jerry's personal beef. So what's your thought?